Millie, perhaps this one is directed at you. So when you're starting up your business, you must have had a few setbacks. How do you keep motivated and keep going? Got any tips for us?
Good question. Yeah, I think it's quite funny. Me and my co-founder joke. It's like one day, like the greatest thing that would have happened, you know, like we won a pitch or whatever, and then the next day something really bad happens. It's always one step forward, two steps back. And it is actually, to begin, when we started, it was a lot emotionally, I think, especially for me, because I didn't actually know what I was getting myself into. But I think it's really important to have a really good support system around you. So we had really good mentors, supervisors, and because we had each other as well, having a co-founder is actually really, really good when you're starting out, because, you know, you can talk through it together. If you need to, you can have a bit of a tantrum, that's fine. You can say some bad words, get it out of your system, but then you get the clarity and you realize this is what I want to do. Like, this is, yes, it's hard. Yes, it sucks right now, but I really want this. And I think that just keeps you going. Yeah, I think that's it. Like, you just need to keep being motivated, have your end goal in sight, and have an achievable end goal in sight. And for me, I think that's a lot greater than anything else. Like, I know what I want, I know what I want to achieve, and that's enough to motivate me. And also, being a student for so long also motivates me, because I can't wait to be making some money. And so that really does motivate me to keep going and hustling as much as I can. So yeah, I would actually like to add to the last question, if you don't mind, as well, specifically on how to stay balanced, because that's something I'm really, really struggling with. Like, I have struggled with, and I'm getting better now. And I think if I could say it really concisely, figure out what are the top 3 or 5 things that give you energy and put them into your life, because a lot of times we do things that take energy away from us, but we think it's what we need to do because of expectations, or just because of like stereotypes, because this is where I'm this young, so I have to be doing this, and that is what brings you down. And I wish I knew this in my undergrad, because I probably was a victim of this. Whereas now, I think I'm figuring those energy things out, but I found some things that really give me energy. And even if I do that 30 minutes or an hour every other day, it really does help me get through some of the hard times.
Yeah, fantastic. This is probably one for you, Kirsty. What other qualifications other than a degree in STEM would companies be interested in seeing?
Oh gosh, you know, I interview a lot of people. I read a lot of CVs. There's 2 or 3 things that I look for. I look for personality in the CV. I don't just want to see degree. I want to see that you're interested in other things, and that you've got a bit of a way about you. I love CVs that have some quirky little information in them, or that give me something to connect to. I'm not interested in people who've done all of these volunteer things. I've volunteered at all these different things. I'm much more interested in something like what Millie was just saying. I've got something that gives me energy, and I can show that I'm passionate about something, and I've got some drive, and those sort of things. Being part of a sports team, having learning an instrument, doing something that's just a little bit personal, and being able to share that in your CV. I definitely look for people who have a relevant qualification, but often we don't employ the person who's got the best qualification. In fact, very rarely do we get a lot of PhDs applying for our lab technician or junior technologist roles. You're going to hate it. It's going to be boring. We're looking for somebody who's going to have be able to relate to the job that we've got. So, being able to see where your interest lies. We can see what degree you did, but actually being able to see where your interest lies. I enjoyed the lab part of it. I really enjoyed the project management part of it. Actually pulling out those things that were important to you, and giving me some idea about, oh yes, this person's actually going to really like whipping cream for 8 hours a day, because we have people in our team who that's what they do. And, you know, a PhD in zoology is going to hate whipping cream for 8 hours a day. So, you know, hopefully that helps.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so we've got about 8 minutes left to go. So what I thought we'd do is we'll finish off with a final question, which I'll pose to each of you. And that is, if you could go back and give your 17-year-old self one piece of advice, what would that be? So we might start with you, Cassandra. What would you say to yourself?
I would probably say just stay curious and stay inquisitive and ask anything. Literally, ask any questions.
Yeah, fantastic. How about you, Kate?
I think the thing I would probably say is just that even though people say if you do what you love, you're not going to work, like, you know, if you love something, you don't mind the sacrifice or whatever. I think I'd probably tell her work is sometimes boring. Like, sorry, you just have to do it. Because yeah, when I was coming out of high school, I just sort of thought, if I'm smart enough, then I don't really have to put that much effort into this. I can kind of, and I mean, it clashed with the other ideas that I was being fed that I had to work all the time. So I had this idea that, like, oh, if you're smart enough, you're going to be naturally gifted and you're going to love everything. And that was clashing with the idea that you have to work all the time and not make time for yourself, or else like party all the time and enjoy your youth. So what I'd like to say is, it's boring sometimes. Like, please accept boredom in your life, because sometimes things suck. And yeah, it's worth it generally. Even interesting things are boring sometimes. So yeah, like accept some degree of boredom when you're trying to learn something, and don't just quit because of that if you actually want to do it. Because if you quit every time something gets a little bit boring, sorry to tell you past self, but you get bored like really easily, so, and you won't achieve anything. So you're just gonna have to suck it up. Yeah, life's boring sometimes is probably the advice I'd give.
Yeah, I think my personal piece of advice would be very similar. So I wasn't a massive fan of maths. It's kind of weird that I did engineering, right? Because there's lots of maths in it. But what I saw was, if I can get through this maths, then I can do what I actually want to do. And sometimes there are these barriers. Don't just look at a program you want to study and then go, I don't like the sound of that course. I don't want to do that anymore. Because there are these things that you just need to get through to get to your end goal. And so don't be afraid to go through things which are tough, because it's very rare for you to find something that you're going to love the entire time. Typically, most of us have parts of our job, for example, that perhaps aren't our favorite, but we've all got those things that really drive us to keep going. And so don't let the hard bits kind of stop you, I guess. How about you, Millie?
Yeah, so I was quite a busy person at high school. I did a lot. So I think actually looking back, because life just gets busier, right? So I think I would tell myself to chill out and have more fun.
Yeah, good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Kirsty?
I think mine's probably quite similar to that. You know, those people that you're worried about, who you think are looking at you or talking about you, or, you know, commenting or watching, they're not. Be you, and don't be shy about that. Just get out there and give it a go.
To sum up, what I would say is, if you're passionate about STEM, go for it. And if you're not too sure what it is that you want to do, try and talk to lots of people, and don't feel as if you can't get in touch. So if you Google my name and Massey, you're going to find my email address. Don't hesitate to get in touch if you've got questions. Even if you don't want to come to Massey or you don't want to study engineering, I might know someone who can help you out. And so, like Millie was saying, you might find someone on LinkedIn that, you know, that would be my dream job. How do I find out how they got to that position? Just try connecting, because the worst that can happen is you never hear back. But who knows, they might get in touch with you and give you some really helpful advice. So don't hesitate to get in touch with people. If you've got challenges along the way, remember that there's people there that will help you. If you're at uni and something's bothering you, find a staff member that you're comfortable with and go and have a chat. Of course, we have professional staff who are there to support you, but if you feel more comfortable talking to someone you know, go for it. And if you're in industry, you know, a mentor or just a trusted colleague, and make sure you have a chat to them, because chances are whatever you're going through, someone else has been there as well, and they'll be able to give you some advice. So we're pretty much finished on time. Thank you so much for attending.